All right, let's jump right in. Today's explainer covers a truly massive scientific paradigm shift. We're finally moving away from that old idea of just trying to slow down aging, and we're stepping into an era where we might actually be able to reverse it. And look, this isn't science fiction anymore. It's a real, rapidly accelerating field backed by some of the deepest pockets on the planet. So, to kick things off, we've got to ask ourselves a pretty wild question, one that the world's most powerful tech titans are aggressively trying to answer. What if aging isn't just some inevitable, irreversible decline? What if it's actually a treatable, reversible condition? That single idea fundamentally changes how we view the human body. And the sheer scale of investment trying to figure this out is just staggering. Take Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, for example. He, along with other ultra-wealthy investors, has poured roughly 450 billion yen into a startup called Altos Labs. That is an absolute mountain of capital, and it's all aimed at one singular goal: cellular rejuvenation. He's definitely not alone here. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he recently threw around 30 billion yen into a company called Retro Biosciences. We're also seeing initiatives like the X Prize launching a 15 billion yen competition focused purely on longevity. This absolutely proves that this is the new frontier for ultra-wealthy investors and tech visionaries. Now, there's a crucial distinction we need to make right here. We're moving away from traditional anti-aging. Anti-aging is basically just trying to slow the decline and patch up diseases as they pop up. But rejuvenation is entirely different. It's about literally turning back the biological clock to restore your cells to a younger, more energetic state. We're talking about going from a state of decline right back to peak performance. Oh, and if you're sitting there thinking, well, my lifespan is totally just up to my genetics, so why bother? You're going to love this. It turns out only about 15% of your longevity is dictated by your genetics. 15%. A massive 85% comes down to your lifestyle, your environment, and how you actually live your life. The choices we make, our diets, our social connections, they play a vastly larger role than our baseline DNA. All right, moving on to Section 1, Rewriting the DNA, the recipe book of life. Let's break down the biology. Okay, so to really grasp rejuvenation, we have to talk about epigenetics. See, every single cell in your body has the exact same DNA. It's kind of like a massive, incredibly thick recipe book. But how does a heart cell know to act like a heart cell and not a skin cell? Well, epigenetics acts like a system of sticky notes inside that recipe book. It tells a specific cell exactly which pages it needs to read and which ones it can ignore. And what scientists have realized is that aging is basically just those sticky notes getting messy. Over time, they fall out or they get stuck on the wrong pages. Suddenly, your heart cell gets confused because it's reading the wrong recipe. Rejuvenation science steps in using something called Yamanaka factors, which actually won a Nobel Prize, by the way. Think of these factors like a helpful housekeeper who goes into the cell and meticulously puts all those sticky notes right back where they belong. This is a game changer because it perfectly illustrates that our fundamental genetic code isn't actually mutating or breaking down as we get older. The recipe book is totally fine. We literally just need a way to clean up the messy instructions so the cell remembers what it's supposed to be doing. Once those sticky notes are fixed, boom, the cell acts in again. Now, if you're wondering if extreme longevity is even biologically possible in nature, just look at the Greenland shark. This thing is an absolute biological marvel living out in the freezing Arctic, and it effortlessly lives for 400 to 500 years. I mean, they don't even reach reproductive age until they're over a century old. Researchers are actively studying this shark's genes, hoping to crack its secrets and apply those exact mechanisms to human biology. Which leads us straight into Section 2, AI reverses aging, skipping slow trials. You might be wondering why this massive explosion in longevity research is happening right now, seemingly out of nowhere. The answer? Artificial intelligence. Traditional research relied on these agonizingly slow animal trials, essentially playing whack-a-mole with single diseases. But AI changes the whole game. Today, AI can take just one single drop of blood, analyze 11,000 different proteins instantly, and perfectly predict how your specific body is aging. It skips those slow trials entirely, letting scientists focus on whole-body rejuvenation rather than just trying to fix one organ at a time. And the crazy part? This isn't just happening in some secret, underground billionaire lab. For around 60,000 yen, companies like Function Health are already letting everyday people use this tech. You can literally take a blood test and map the true biological age of your individual organs. So you might be 40 chronologically, But you find out your heart is 45, while your kidneys are actually 35. The demand for this deeply personalized data is off the charts. Function Health has seen explosive growth and is now valued at an estimated 400 billion yen. They've got 50,000 active members rigorously tracking their biological age, and actually get this, a staggering 200,000 people are just sitting on a wait list. People are absolutely desperate to visualize their health at a cellular level so they can do something about it. But let's zoom out a bit for Section 3, Cost of Immortality, Economic and Social Impacts. We have to consider what happens when everyone suddenly starts living much, much longer. The economic upside is honestly hard to wrap your head around. If we extended the global healthy lifespan by just one single year, it would generate a mind-blowing 5,700 trillion yen in social and economic value. That's from drastically lower medical costs, since people aren't languishing in hospitals with chronic illnesses, combined with way higher productivity and consumer participation over a longer lifespan. However, there is a very real, very dark side to this that we have to navigate. Because these early therapies and biological tests are going to be incredibly expensive, there's a huge risk of what researchers call longevity inequality. Think about a future where your annual income might directly dictate your literal lifespan. If only the ultra-rich can afford to buy an extra 2 or 3 decades of healthy life, it creates a societal divide unlike anything humanity has ever seen. And that forces us to look at Section 4, a 250-year life, redesigning humanity. Let's assume the tech eventually democratizes, and aging becomes a reversible condition for everyone. We'd have to completely rethink the human experience from the ground up. Right now, our entire societal structure, our career arcs, our marriages, the very concept of retirement, is built around an 80-year expiration date. But what happens when we rewrite that limit to 150 or even 250 years? You can't just do the exact same job or live the exact same way for 2 centuries. Everything fundamentally shifts. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. The billions are already invested. AI is accelerating their research at a breakneck pace, and the biological mechanisms of aging are being cracked as we speak. If the science is truly already here to turn back the clock, are we actually prepared as a society and as individuals to live for 2.5 centuries?